Welcome back to the show, guys. So, in the meanwhile, you was preparing the setup and the new guest. I was putting some music. I hope you enjoyed it. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
That's cool. Right. So, keep going, man. So you can.
All right. All right. Welcome everybody to the panel. Mews, the future's awaiting you. For anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Bastian. I'm the managing director for Mews Systems for the in Europe. Mews is a cloud-based PMS system with open API. That's just about us. Together here, I'm sitting with some hoteliers that have been using Mews for quite some time, or some that will use Mews in the future. Maybe he doesn't even know it yet, but it comes as a surprise. So, guys, I just want to introduce yourself if you're okay with it. So on the very left, we have David. Let's start in the order of appearance here, not by ladies first. I hope that's okay for everyone. We have David. David is the owner of Hotel Big Mama. Hotel Big Mama has hotels in Leipzig and in Berlin, and potentially some more in the future. We're gonna get to that a little bit later. He's building an empire. He just said. So what is it to know about? Like, so it's a hotel hostel kind of hybrid that you're running, and you took over the business from your parents. If my information is correct.
That's correct. Yeah.
Cool. Then we have Philip Ibrahim here. He's the GM for the student hotel, which we are which is happily hosting us. Thank you for that. He's 6 months in the role, if I'm correct. So just about there. He's a true chain hospitality child, if that's something that I've researched correctly. So that's Accor, that's Kempinski, I think. They were your stations.
You mentioned them, but yeah, it's Accor, but and Kempinski.
Okay. Then we have Georg. We have Madeleine here, Madeleine Ernst. She's She's sales and marketing at Circus Hotel, which is a hotel, a hostel, and apartments. So also multi-property, multi-purpose operation. And a funny fact maybe about Madeleine is she studied archaeology. So that's something that you can, fall into hospitality even from archaeology. We get to that later too. And we have Georg sitting here, Georg Gag. He's the manager. I've written down he's multi-talented because he's doing everything sort of on his own. So that's hiring, that's IT, that's rates, systems, anything that you can imagine he's doing. And he's working at My Next student accommodation. They mainly operate from Vienna and Salzburg, if that's correct.
Correct, yes.
Cool. So, guys, the first question that I have for you as a panel is to all of you, actually. Can anyone share a story of the moment when you realized that you need to change something in your operation, in your PMS system? Who wants to go first?
Ladies first, obviously.
But you can hold the mic.
It's not that we prepared this.
There was not one particular moment, but a lot of moments, basically every day. With our old PMS, it was very difficult and time consuming to get and also analyze data. So especially for the whole department of sales, marketing, revenue, it was quite complicated. And we always had the feeling like we could only react and never act on something because we couldn't get the necessary information in time.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
So I think our moment when we realized that we have to change our PMS was so we basically had to do everything on our own. So we had to change the city tax on our own. We had a list where our front office manager had to check the prices. So if the price is 69, then the city tax is about, I don't know, €2 or something. So we had to put it on in manually all the time, and credit cards as well. So we had to download them. We had to charge them on our terminal. And yeah, so that was actually the point when we said, okay, this is not the way we want to work in the future.
Okay.
Well, if the question was for me as well, I have not decided it to change it. It was decided for me, but I'm very happy about that. Now that we opened the student hotel 6 months ago with another PMS system, which was then decided for the entire group of the student hotel to be changed to Mews. So the moment that I decided it was when they said, "Oh, you have a new PMS system." I'm looking forward to that. I'm very excited.
But I think that's something that some of the hoteliers are going through actually as well, like the operational people, at least when the deciding people make that decision. But we'll get to that maybe a little bit later. That's actually a good point that I want to catch up on. Georg.
Yeah, so for us, we already used a cloud-based PMS in 2015, but it was really made for smaller properties with around 20 rooms, let's say. And so it got really, really slow for our larger properties. And it was also not able to distinguish between beds, rooms, and dorms. And so at the end of 2015, it was clear to me that we need a PMS that is much faster, more reliable, and that can distinguish between dorms, rooms, and beds, because we have hotels, hostels, and apartments. And yeah.
Cool. Thank you. I think with all of these stories here, we know that a decision has been made to change a PMS system. So the next question, the next logical question that I would have is how to prepare for this. Once the decision has been made, that's a big step already. But then how do you prepare for it? What are the steps needed in order to sort of evaluate, is it making a list sort of writing down of the integrations that you guys have, or what you want to achieve, or what's for you guys, what's most important? Is it the customer journey that goes the first thing and everything else should follow that? Or is it, are you using your actual tech stack that you have and you need just something to connect it all with each other? Like, what's your motivation? What's your checklist, so to speak, when you change that PMS? Maybe we start this way around now with Georg.
All right. Yeah, so what I think a lot of hotels or hoteliers do is that they create a very, very, very long list of features that they want the PMS to must do, and then should do, and what would be nice to have. And but this also means that they derive this from the past and probably from how they did things in the past. And so I tried another approach. So I was looking more for companies who were, let's say, forward thinking and innovative, and probably for companies that had not yet the perfect product that could do everything. And I think it's impossible nowadays to find the PMS that can do everything. So I was more looking into PMSs that had the right approach, that were very innovative at what they are doing right now, and that had an open API to connect other tools and apps, which the PMS can't do right now. And I think you have to be open to change procedures and not try to do things like you did it in the past. And sometimes that's just fine then. So yeah, that was my story, or our story. And yeah, I think that worked quite well.
That sounds super organized, though. I feel like we did have a checklist. Like, what did I? I mean, of course, we knew what we were looking for because we were missing it with our old PMS, which was getting data and analyzing data in a more efficient way. And also what you mentioned, like open API. We also struggled with our former system, that there were like no integrations at all. Is a bit much, but still it was very, very complicated to move forward in terms of efficiency with a revenue management tool whatsoever. So I mean, those were the important points that we had for ourselves, but then we picked basically 3 PMSs and then we tested them and then we made a decision, and yeah, that was it.
Okay.
I think it's the upcoming change is going to be my 3rd or 4th switch in PMS, and I always it was always taken the decision that I have not followed. And if I look back, whenever you change. The first period of the new PMS is hell for the team, and then when you change it, they want to have the old one back. And then the whole circle starts again. So I'm pretty much sure that this will happen again. But to be fair, I gotta say that I usually tackle it from the side of the staff. So I want to have it as simple for the staff as possible. The reason why usually you switch a PMS is due to speed or technological approach is not good enough. The other one is not programmed further, or the program just stopped his story. So there's always a reason why. I usually wait for the setup plans and for the trainings, and then I see how the stuff takes in the new system. Usually, and that's quite good, those systems match better to the people now working at the reception because they're quicker, they're more easy to understand everything. So I'm not much worried about that. My worry usually is about data, and especially about booked in bookings. That's my major concern now. Not for this property. I don't want to paint something, not the devil on the wall, something. I'm just totally easy. But I know in the old properties it was always the point that will all information be set to the same spot? Obviously not, because there's always something. Oh, there is a kid over 16. This will not be played as a kid over 16. It will be a third adult or something. So this is learning by doing. But besides that, there is a clear plan. Plus, you got to say the easier the business is, the easier the transformation is. So when you don't have mice or conferences included, no group blocks, no allotments, not 1,000 contracts, that eases the things. And that's why I'm very much at ease for this hotel as we're open running 6 months. So that the history data is very short. Yeah. And corporate contracts is not so big. There's not so many things to see. I'm pretty much waiting for the day, and I'm always looking for 6 o'clock and for the first beer, and then it's all good.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say. But for us, for me, the main important point was that it's easy to use for the employees, for the desk, because they are doing a job, and so this is the main point actually for me. Then comes the customer journey, obviously, but I have to admit, in Berlin, I didn't sort of anything. Just that it is easier to use because I had no plan at all. But in Leipzig, when we took over Leipzig in March last year, we had some sort of a plan. But again, it has to be easy to use for the employees.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. And having heard all that, with the increasing sort of evidence becoming more clear and clear that sort of the new players on the market, the new PMSs that are out there, specifically the ones that are cloud-based, they all come with like open API, ease of access and everything. And that the evidence is so clear now that they might be even surpassing from the technological capabilities, all of the legacy systems. Why is it you think that not more hoteliers are actually willing to make a switch or want to change, knowing that they would change for the better? Like, what do you think it is? Who wants to take it first? Maybe we take a different approach now.
Well, I think the hotel industry is very much, I would say, conservative without being too traditional, without being too offensive. So you have to have a lot of, not only one reason to switch or change something. There must be a massive impact in order for you to switch from a book where you write down the reservations and then cross it through up to a computer. And I think that's the major thing. And the second thing is that we're talking about a business where the profitability is very, very low. We have a lot of staff members. We have a lot of things to do. There's a high bureaucracy amount of stuff to proceed. So the reason to switch a PMS usually has something to do with your management structure of the whole organization. In our case, it's like if you expand globally, you need a system that runs globally. You need to be, in our case, in the head office in Amsterdam, able to track down the numbers within 3 seconds, which is not the case if you have a place in Berlin and Leipzig. But if you proceed on having, I don't know, Copenhagen and Stockholm, I'm sure that's going to be another piece of cake in order to have your profitability solved. So massive point is it's really an invest, and it's invest in time stuff. In the smaller hotels, and Germany is a market with a lot of private owned small hotels. You have people working 20, 25 years. This change process is not only that I decide as the head, man, our CRM tool is shit, we need a new one. So that affects like those people who play with it, and I think that's the reason why I would say. Happy to.
Yeah, I would also say the most people are really afraid of the change, um, because of losing their data. But then in this case, you have to ask them, what are you doing with your data? Are you really working with them? Are you using them? If not, what are you afraid for? Of course, they will be cut, and you will lose data. But in the long run, in the future, you will have better data, you will have better features, and you can work better, and your profitability is even better as well. That's my point of view. I can understand it for the big chains, obviously. That's different to us, but maybe they could just change one hotel, try it, and then see if it works, and then change the others as well.
Yeah, for us it was a very, very long process to finally decide to switch the PMS. You probably know. I don't know. It took a very long time, and as you already said, it's also about resources, and you have a lot of ongoing and upcoming projects, and I think it always feels like it's never the right time to do it, but there is never the right time to do it, probably. And but yeah, people are afraid, and we all know the beauty of the comfort zone, I think. And it's like, yeah, I mean, you go to work and you know what you're expecting, you know what your workflow is, and everyone is just afraid to lose that safety and comfort.
Yeah, so there's not so much I can add. I mean, there are several reasons for sure. I mean, costs, and then you have to train yourself and your whole staff for a new PMS. But then it's also because people don't want to take a lot of risk. They are afraid of changing. And probably, so I can only speak for Vienna, but the hospitality industry in Vienna is doing quite well. So there is not high pressure to be innovative. So I think this is also, this plays a role in that case. And I think then probably sometimes they have wrong concerns about things. So sometimes I hear people, okay, this is cloud-based. This is not secure in regards to privacy. But I think this is in most cases wrong. I think a cloud-based system is much more secure, and it's not easy to hack at all. And yeah, it's definitely more secure than on-premise installations. And so I would say the PMS, it's such a central part of your operations, and you should make sure that you are ready for the future. And then just when you have that feeling, then you just need to do it, make a plan, and then go for the change.
Thank you. David, part of my research showed that you are very creative when it comes to hiring your staff. Because I've been told that you don't hire necessarily from the industry. You hire from all different kind of industries. So my question, I guess, for you would be: so what are you looking for in people when you hire them, and how long does it take them usually when they don't come from the hospitality background to get used to work in the hotel and to get up to speed with the system? Like what and why do you think that is? Maybe.
So, not coming from the hospitality industry myself, I'm a real estate agent. I learned that. I have to say that it's actually pretty easy to learn the stuff, but the most important part is that you have to enjoy being a host. So that's something you can't learn. You can learn how to use a system, but you have to be open-minded. Languages, of course, that's a big plus. And hiring people from different industries, I have to admit, gave us a huge boost because we got different approaches to things as well. Because we don't have this like, oh, we did it this way the last 20 years. We do it the next 20 years as well. We have people from all industries, and they say, David, we could do it like this because we are doing we did it like this. And I say, yeah, actually that's a nice idea. Let's try it, and then we can try it, and then it works. So yeah, just like I said, you have to be open-minded. You have to enjoy what you're doing, and all the rest you can learn. And with our PMS, we I think it's really easy. You have the university, you watch some videos, and like you said earlier, the PMS is working like people are working right now as well, because it's just handy. It's really easy to use, like I said before. So
Yeah.
there's no much
Rocket science.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's no rocket science.
Okay, thank you. Madeleine, question for you. So obviously you didn't study archaeology to master the legacy systems, right? That's not a need. So I guess first question that might be interesting to everyone: how did you end up where you end up right now? Like, what's your way? And then for you personally, what is the one thing that you look forward into a PMS system? Like, what's your killer feature that sort of you're most proud of that you're using right now at the moment?
A lot of questions. Long questions. I think the first question is one of the questions that keeps my parents up at night. So yeah, I studied something completely different, and I worked in hospitality as a student to earn some money. So I started at the reception, then worked in the reservation office, and then at one point I got offered the job for the sales and marketing manager, and I was like, okay, you sure? I study archaeology. But in the end, it's also analyzing data. I mean, it's different, but not so different.
Yeah.
What was the other question?
What is the feature that you're most sort of proud of from the Switch now?
I mean, first of all, its existence, but as I said in the beginning, it's the easy access of data and analyzing it. That was something that was very painful before the Switch.
Okay, thank you. Now, Georg, you have a very diverse operation, I might say. So your entire operation is made up of it's bedrooms and it's beds. So approximately 400 bedrooms and additional 400 beds across 6 properties. Like, how are you managing this with, and I kid you not, with 3 people in total? So it's you, Georg, plus 2. So how do you do it?
Yeah, so first of all, to be honest, so the core stuff is me plus 2 others, and Jenny and Chris. Hi, by the way. They are also
working at the moment, right?
No, I don't think so. I hope not. No, so yeah, so they're doing a great job, and they're also very like-minded. And but during summer month when we have open, so we are just a seasonal business. We have receptionists as well, and yeah. So how we can do it with just 3 people in the core team is because we have a lot of standardized procedures, and we have quite a good amount of automations, and big things like that all payments are automated. But also the little things like for instance, our catering company that makes our breakfast also always needs the forecast for the next days. So we send them an automated email, so no one has to manually do it and forget it, do it wrong. And same for the cleaning. So we send them every day a forecast for the next 14 days, so that they know when we have a lot of departures. And so this is automated. Yeah, then we have a very good knowledge base, I think, where staff members can look up things easily. I think that also helps. And we also empower people to make decisions themselves. So I rather have them make one mistake instead of asking me 20 times for something. So I can live with a mistake. That's fine for me. And I think those are some things how we can do it like that.
Okay, cool. That's very inspiring. Philip, coming or having worked, we said that before, like having worked at chain hospitality, Accor, I think multiple brands, then Kempinski. Like, what is it you miss most from that time, except for the suits?
How do I get out of there? I think that suit topic really follows me through. I didn't wear suits in the last year in Mercure as well. I got to say that. So they were, well, it's about the freedom you take yourself. It's a bit different than Kempinski, I got to say, but based on the people that you cater to. What do I really miss the most is hard to say. I always miss people. That's probably the biggest downside, especially when you worked in other countries. You have like, with Kempinski, I worked in Africa, in Chad, and the team that I had there, that was very intense. It's a war zone. You live in the hotel and it's like your family. These people not to have around you is like really tough, trying to stay in contact with them. That is what I miss. And I miss these good talks and the good nights and a lot of dirty jokes and cold drinks. That is the memories that you create when you work, I think, in that industry. What I really miss in terms of operation, I mean, I'm not sure whether it's missing, but sometimes you don't need to think that much when you work in a big chain or in a big company. So there is an issue with that thing doesn't work in the way. Then there is for sure a person that had experienced the same thing, and then you had somebody with Accor. It's amazing. Huh? You call in Munich, you have a problem with the staff member, and you're not sure what the HR situation is on that. So you call a lawyer, and he tells you, "Yeah, do this and this and this," and then the case is solved. And then it's like problem in at 2 o'clock, problem out at 2:30. So that's what is really amazing. Now working in a more startup-based situation with a headquarter in another country, a lot of things are not as established. So sometimes you have an issue, and I do remember barely that the tax law in Germany has this and this and that, but it's not like that I wait the whole year for that little information to pop up in the second where I need it. And having not somebody to call instantly, having it solved instantly is probably what I miss, but it's my own problem because I hate to leave the office with more than 20 emails in my email box. That's probably a personal issue. But besides, you have the same? Well, see, but whenever I'm home and I have 37 emails, even though they're not important and I leave it there for a purpose, I don't feel good. I don't know why. So that's probably the downside, but it's good in the last half year. I think I've used my brain much more intensely and diverse than I had probably before, which doesn't mean that I didn't thought, but
Okay. I guess I think we have to stick to half an hour or so. So my last two questions for the round would be, first, what's the one thing that Mews enabled you to do? Like since the switch to Mews, what is it that you could do that you couldn't do before? And what's your top tip for a hotel that might be thinking, okay, what do I need to do, in order to change? Or what is it that you would say to a fellow hotelier that it's still on a legacy system? Let's start with David.
Yeah. So to answer the first question, what Mews enabled us to really plug and play with the other tools from the marketplace. I didn't know that it's possible before I had Mews. So we had like 3 revenue management systems already, 2 CRMs, and we can just plug them in, try them. If it's not good, okay, then we cancel it and use another one. That's really nice, and it's really like this. There are some other PMS I know. They're outside and they're saying, "Oh, we have open APIs and you can do whatever you want to." Then you ask, "Okay, do you have an open API to this tool?" Yeah, it's on a roadmap. So if they say this, always be aware of that. And the second question again was a top tip. Yeah, just
negotiate hard. Put them down.
just move away from the legacy systems. Like really, just do it. Don't be afraid. Just do it and use something new. And of course, negotiate well.
I'm the one that has not experienced it yet, but I would say what I really look forward to is a good and structured reporting that would ease my life as hell. Forecast systems for housekeeping and breakfast. I love to hear that. So I already said I'm going to nail on that point because that is really what is taking hours to understand. And what I always like, I like to have a quick a quick personal contact if I have something that I want to have solved. That is probably the best thing. So that would be my top tip whenever you do it. And I've got to say positive. I'm very happy with Mews because they have an office here, and I know the people, and I already have like a positive sign that when I have something, call us. We'll try to work through, and that is something I have missed in the last. It literally whole my career when I worked with a PMS. I never had a person that I could say, "Hey, listen, there is a report, but that report isn't working. Can I have it in net or whatever?" And that's what I look forward to.
For the first question, I agree completely with what David said. Mews Marketplace, big fan, because it gives you the chance to try out so many things that you wouldn't have done because it means a lot of time and work and money, and you can just like try it out, and if it's not working, you know, you didn't invest thousands of euros in a new connection. So that for me is a big plus. Tip, many. What I noticed and what I would do differently, I think next time, hopefully there is no next time, but is to be transparent about the decision-making process with every department in your company, because it's not necessarily obvious to everyone why you're changing your PMS. And I noticed that sometimes the front desk was quite frustrated because they didn't really understand why we would torture them with a new software, you know. And I think just communicating with them what the decision is, they're more willing to accept the new challenge.
Cool.
So that would be my tip, I think.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, so for us, since we are a seasonal business, it was crucial that it's easy to use. So we open 6 properties on the same day with around 40 new employees. And we just have 1.5 day for training the staff. So that's crazy. So it's just crucial that it's easy to use. And then I also really like that Mews is cloud-based and has open APIs. And it's reliable. My top tip, yeah, I'm just a huge fan of automation. Try to automate unnecessary stuff because it frees up so much time and gives you more time to actually talk to the guest. And yeah, this is what you want to do in hospitality.
That's really great. Thank you, guys. I think we're at the end. So yeah, that's the last thing actually that stands between us and the party. So thank you guys for the lovely answers and for the great panel. Thank you guys for being here as well. The people out on LinkedIn can't probably see them, but there's a couple of people here in the room as well.
Questions, we'll answer them.
Obviously, over a couple of beers. And thank you guys on LinkedIn for tuning in. Yeah, speak to you soon. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Right. So now,
And you guys, I just have to say, you were amazing. I mean, we put this together, and thank you all so much for being this spontaneous. We put this together, what, in 2 hours?
Over, yesterday evening.
Yeah. So yeah, sometimes being spontaneous brings a good results, and I really enjoyed your session and your insights, to be honest.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Enzo, you can't see me now. Can I just come here
Yes, sure.
in the middle?
Can we talk or are we?
darling,
You are expelled.
We can drink. What do you know? Is
should
there more
we
questions?
have a couple of minute break and come back again?
Yes, so we've got our last panel coming up, Challenges 2020. With
Free in the room. Secure challenges for me.
no more challenge for Philip.
All right. See you all at the bar.
So we've got Challenges 2020 panel coming up. If I can ask you, Enzo, to do a little bit of music while we are changing here.
Sure. I'll see you in a bit.